I submit this urgent communication to the Supreme Council of the Stellar Confederation. This message is not a casual greeting. It is a grave and earnest warning. It concerns the species known as Terrans. Terrans are, in many ways, exceedingly ordinary. In terms of intellect, they fall precisely in the middle between brilliance and mediocrity. I know Terrans who can navigate an entire asteroid field out of a planetary system, extract all resources, and achieve this feat without any AI or guidance systems. Yet, those same individuals cannot manage the task of restocking a refreshment dispenser. I know a Terran who fumbles with basic arithmetic, like adding 10 and 10, yet he can repair a quantum reactor using nothing but a spanner. In terms of combat prowess, we will not consider Terran elite soldiers, the Guardians, but rather the average Terran trooper. I know riflemen who can't hit a barn door with a blaster cannon, but give them a dagger, and they can take down even a Sarnon eviscerator drone. Conversely, consider a Terran marksman. They can strike a target the size of a pebble from 3 kilometers away in a storm. However, those same marksmen would be hapless in a hand-to-hand fight. Terrans epitomize the median in sapient diversity, extraordinary for any species. They embody the extremes and the middle ground of any race, the swiftest and slowest, the brightest and most foolish, the fiercest warriors and the gentlest pacifists. This is why Terrans have carved out such a distinct niche within the galactic community, and why they inspire both affection and animosity. This explains why you'll find a Terran in almost any role, anywhere their biology allows them to thrive. They adapt to nearly any situation they encounter. Given sufficient time, resources, or motivation, they blend in so seamlessly with others that they become indistinguishable from the locals. But this is not the reason for my message. I write not to extol their virtues. I come with a dire and sincere caution. Terrans are far more dangerous than even they realize. The average Terran is just that average, except in one specific aspect: their offspring. Specifically, their young or juveniles, as we term them. All species have protective instincts towards their young to varying degrees, but Terrans take this to an unprecedented level. I speak particularly of one Terran individual, a crew member named Elisa, whom I hired on the advice of my quartermaster. An ordinary Terran by all standards. She joined us as a maintenance worker, but soon became devoted to the crew's children, young Iridians, Vrali, and others. Within a few weeks, she had assumed the role of their informal caretaker, as she called it. Beyond her duties of maintaining the ship's cleanliness and restocking vending units, she spent her free time engaging with the juveniles aboard. Familiar with Terrans, we didn't question this behavior. They were always friendly and could be trusted more than most species, similar to others we knew. I believe Terrans were simply extraordinarily normal, until I encountered a trait that sets them apart from all other species. If Elisa's behavior is representative, then this trait is common across their species, not just a few individuals. If Elisa's accounts are accurate, it implies one of two outcomes. We have a formidable ally, or a fearsome and nearly indomitable foe. I prefer to believe the former, frankly. To illustrate my point, I will recount an incident. During a routine transport mission, my vessel was delivering goods to a Terran colony on the edge of their space common supplies like red spice and medical gear. We were ambushed by a band of Vorax marauders, specifically the Nightclaws. Yes, those Nightclaws. The group notorious for annihilating a Confederation escort fleet and capturing the Vorax Queen for a season. It began with a transmission, yield and surrender. They demanded as their disruptor beams disabled our systems, and they prepared to board. Within minutes, our crew was in position, ready to repel the invaders. Unfortunately for them, they bypassed the main entry and instead cut through the cargo bay, leading them directly to her. As they blasted through, plundering what they could, and began slicing through the ship's inner structure, they encountered Elisa and the young ones under her watch. She stood her ground and refused to yield. He struck her hard, but she did not surrender. She instructed the children to play hide and seek, telling them to hide. When he tried to seize one of the children as it slipped into the maintenance ducts, she intercepted him, allowing the child to escape. He made a callous remark about making soup from the juveniles. Elisa, with a blood-curdling scream of fury and wrath, launched herself at him. Caught off guard by her sudden ferocity, he was helpless as she pinned him to the deck and, with her bare hands, began tearing his teeth out. Let me reiterate this for clarity. With her bare hands, she ripped out his teeth. Her furious shrieking and the Vorax warriors' agonized screams drew the attention of the other marauders, who soon met similar fates. Elisa carved a brutal path of death and savage insanity, severing limbs, decapitating heads, and using their own body parts to beat them to death. During this bloodbath, my crew and I witnessed for the first time a Vorax warrior feeling fear. Elisa confiscated a grenade from one warrior amidst her rampage. She shattered his jaw, forcing it open. She pulled the grenade's pin and shoved it down his throat. The look of terror on his face, as he frantically clawed at his abdomen, trying to remove the grenade, is something I will never forget. The explosion that followed, showering us with his viscera and bone shards, caused the remaining pirates to flee in panic. Our ship managed to break free and escape, with Elisa hurling curses at them as they retreated into space. Elisa returned to a semblance of normalcy as the ship was restored to basic operations. We made an emergency jump to the Terran colony and sent out a distress signal. Terran forces arrived within moments. Elisa, however, appeared suddenly calm. The fury in her eyes subsided, her breathing steadied, and her expression softened. She called out, "All clear, kiddos. Come out, the snacks are on me." In moments, the juveniles, unharmed, emerged and swarmed her, toppling her to the ground like she was a feather. They playfully tackled her, declaring victory, and with a united effort, carried her to the dining area. We recounted to the Terrans, who aided us everything Elisa had done, questioning her well-being. They merely shrugged and remarked that her actions were, quote, too restrained. I have devoted over 200 hours to researching this phenomenon, and the findings are consistent. Terrans, irrespective of the species under their care or merely nearby, exhibit a maniacal protectiveness towards any juvenile in their vicinity. Even Terrans with no personal ties to the individuals involved will, upon perceiving a juvenile of any species in danger, rush headlong into peril with no regard for their own safety. This behavior is too prevalent, both on and off record, to be coincidental. This instinct is notably more intense with their own offspring or close relations. You, Supreme Council, may utilize this intelligence as you see fit. However, I must issue a stern warning. Do not, under any circumstances, harm a juvenile of any kind in the presence of a Terran. You risk facing a relentless, merciless demise at the hands of a being whose parental instincts are so overwhelmingly powerful that they defy logic, reason, and even natural law. Beneath those average exteriors, and within those typical minds, lies the indefatigable essence of the most formidable force in the cosmos, parenthood. You have been warned. Respectfully, Captain Ixion Marr, Commander of the Celestial Voyager, Terran Expanse, Theta Outpost.